You think you know Drew Barrymore, right? America's sweetheart, the woman who can make anyone feel like they're sitting in her living room having the most intimate heart-to-heart of their lives. Well, what if I told you that even Drew Barrymore has her limits? And what if I told you that Meghan Markle just found those limits in the most public, most humiliating way possible? Because, honey, what went down behind the scenes of Drew's show wasn't just awkward. It was a masterclass in how to burn every bridge in Hollywood with a single appearance. Hollywood loves a good comeback story. It's the land of second chances, where careers rise from the ashes and stars reinvent themselves faster than you can say rebrand. But here's the thing about climbing too fast in Tinseltown. Sometimes you step on the wrong toes, and sometimes those toes belong to people who can make or break your entire future. Meghan Markle just learned this lesson the hard way, and Drew Barrymore was front and center to witness what insiders are calling the most spectacular self-sabotage in recent memory. Picture this. Meghan walks onto the Drew Barrymore show set, looking absolutely pristine in that carefully curated way she's perfected since moving to Montecito. You know the look, part wellness guru, part lifestyle influencer, with just enough of that royal polish to remind everyone she used to wear a tiara. The cameras are rolling. Drew is doing what she does best, being warm and welcoming and making her guest feel like they're about to become best friends forever. Everything looks perfect on the surface. The audience is eating it up, thinking they're about to witness the birth of the most unexpected but somehow perfect Hollywood friendship. Drew Barrymore and Meghan Markle. On paper, it sounds like it could work, right? Drew, the ultimate overcomer, the woman who survived child stardom and addicting, iron and family drama to become one of the most beloved figures in entertainment. And Meghan, the actress turned duchess turned whatever she's trying to be now, in the middle of what her PR team is desperately calling a reimagining phase. They could have been this odd but lovable duo, supporting each other's wellness empires and lifestyle brands, doing joint Instagram lives about self-care and second chances. But here's where the fairy tale crashes into reality, because what the cameras didn't show you was the absolute chaos happening behind the scenes. The moment Meghan stepped off that stage, the whispers started. And in Hollywood, whispers travel faster than wildfire and burn just as hot. Production assistants were quietly comparing notes. Crew members were exchanging those meaningful looks that say everything without saying anything. And Drew herself was trying to process what had just happened. Because apparently, the woman who married into the British royal family forgot she was in America now, where titles mean absolutely nothing if you can't back them up with talent, likability, or at minimum, basic human decency. Sources close to the production are painting a picture that's honestly shocking, even by Hollywood diva standards. We're talking about someone who allegedly walked in with a list of demands about how she wanted to be introduced, how the crew should address her, and what level of deference she expected throughout the filming process. Now, let's be clear about something. Drew Barrymore's show isn't Buckingham Palace. It's not even a traditional talk show. It's basically Drew's living room extended to a studio audience where the whole vibe is realness, authenticity, and feeling like you're having therapy with your best friend who happens to have cameras rolling. The show's entire DNA is built on stripping away pretense and connecting on a human level. And so when someone comes in demanding royal treatment, it's not just awkward, it's antithetical to everything the show represents. The reports coming out are honestly wild. We're hearing that Meghan insisted on being addressed by her Duchess title, not just by the host, but by every single person on set. Production assistants, camera operators, makeup artists, everyone was apparently expected to acknowledge her royal status. And when that didn't happen smoothly, when people forgot or seemed confused, there was reportedly this energy shift that everyone on set could feel. Drew, who survived every kind of Hollywood drama you can imagine, started to realize she was dealing with something completely different than what she'd signed up for. You have to understand, Drew Barrymore has worked with literally everyone. She's been in this industry since she was 7 years old. She's seen divas, she's seen meltdowns, she's seen every kind of difficult behavior imaginable. But her show runs on a very specific energy. It's warm, it's welcoming, it's authentic. When someone comes in trying to create a hierarchy based on a title from a monarchy that Americans literally fought a war to reject, it creates this bizarre cognitive dissonance that apparently even Drew couldn't smooth over with her trademark charm. The whole thing gets even more complicated when you realize what Drew represents in Hollywood culture. She's not just beloved. She's basically the benchmark for kindness and professionalism. When Drew Barrymore has a problem with you, when Drew Barrymore's crew starts whispering about your behavior, that's not just gossip. That's a career warning sign flashing in neon lights. This is the woman who hugs everyone, who cries during interviews because she genuinely connects with people, who's built her entire post-comeback career on being relatable and human. So when the filming wrapped and there was this reportedly chilly silence, instead of the usual warm goodbyes and exchange exchange of contact information, people surely noticed. When Drew didn't do her typical social media follow-up posts gushing about her guest, people noticed. When the interview aired and Drew seemed slightly less effusive than usual, slightly more careful with her words, people definitely noticed. The audience that knows and loves Drew could sense something was off, even if they couldn't quite put their finger on what. The timing of this whole disaster makes it even more painful for Meghan because this interview was supposed to be easy. This was supposed to be her clean, simple win. Drew Barrymore doesn't do gotcha journalism. She doesn't ask the hard questions about family drama or financial struggles or staff turnover rates. She asks about feelings and hopes and dreams and favorite recipes. This should have been 2 hours of the softest possible press, the kind of appearance that generates good vibes and positive headlines and maybe even some genuine industry connections. Instead, Meghan apparently chose to use this platform to reinforce her status rather than build her likability. And that's not just a missed opportunity. In Hollywood terms, that's strategic malpractice. Because here's what Meghan seems to not understand about American celebrity culture. We don't care about your title. We care about your talent. We don't care about your royal connections. We care about whether you can deliver ratings. And we definitely don't care about being impressed by your status if you can't be bothered to treat the people around you with basic respect. The ripple effects are already starting to spread through Hollywood's tightly connected ecosystem. In an industry where everyone talks to everyone and reputations are built on whispers and impressions, having Drew Barrymore's crew spreading stories about your diva behavior is not the kind of publicity any publicist can spin. These are the people who work with every major celebrity, who move between productions, who form the invisible network that actually makes Hollywood function. When they start talking about someone being difficult or disrespectful, that conversation happens in makeup trailers and craft services tables and production meetings all across town. And the thing is, Drew's people aren't known for drama or exaggeration. When Drew Barrymore's team has concerns about someone's behavior, other producers and executives take that seriously. Because if someone can't handle Drew Barrymore's famously nurturing, low-pressure environment, what does that say about how they'll behave on a real high-stakes production? If they're creating problems in what's essentially Hollywood's most comfortable interview setting, how are they going to handle actual creative differences or budget constraints or scheduling conflicts? The details that are emerging paint a picture of someone who fundamentally misunderstood the assignment. We're hearing about insistence on specific seating arrangements, complaints about not being properly briefed on royal protocol, even allegations that Meghan spoke dismissively to crew members who didn't immediately understand her expectations. And the most damaging part isn't even the specific behaviors, it's the energy. Because television is all about energy, and when someone brings an energy that makes everyone else uncomfortable, it shows up on camera, no matter how good the editing is. Drew's response to all of this has been characteristically which is to say, she hasn't responded at all. But in Hollywood, silence can be just as loud as any statement. Drew Barrymore not gushing about a guest on social media, Drew Barrymore not extending invitations for future collaborations, Drew Barrymore maintaining professional distance instead of her usual warm embrace. All of that communicates volumes to people who know how to read the signs. The social media response has been brutal in that particularly modern way where people aren't necessarily attacking Meghan directly, but they're definitely picking up on the weird vibes. Comments on the interview clips are full of people saying things like, Drew seemed uncomfortable. Something felt off about this. Drew usually loves her guests more than this. When your interview generates that kind of viewer response, when people are watching specifically to analyze the host's body language for signs of discomfort, that's not the kind of attention any celebrity wants. What makes this whole situation even more tragic is that it didn't have to happen this way. Meghan could have used this platform to show her human side, to connect with Drew's audience on a personal level, to demonstrate the kind of warmth and relatability that might actually help her American media career. Instead, she apparently chose to use it as an opportunity to assert her royal status, creating exactly the kind of awkward dynamic that American audiences instinctively reject. The broader implications are enormous because this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is happening at a time when Meghan is already struggling with public perception issues, when her various media ventures have been plagued by reports of staff turnover and creative conflicts, when your Netflix projects are getting mixed reviews, when your Spotify deal ends in disappointment, when your lifestyle brand is getting mocked for trying to sell jam for premium prices. You cannot afford to alienate someone like Drew Barrymore. And that's exactly what seems to have happened here. Drew Barrymore, who could have been a valuable ally in Meghan's American media rehabilitation, who could have provided the kind of authentic endorsement that money can't buy, apparently walked away from this experience with serious reservations. In an industry where relationships are everything and reputation is the only currency that matters, that's not just a missed opportunity, it's a self-inflicted wound that could have lasting consequences. The lesson here isn't just about Meghan Markle's strategic mistakes. It's about the fundamental difference between earned respect and demanded deference, between genuine connection and performed status. Drew Barrymore represents everything that works about American celebrity culture. She's overcome adversity. She's stayed authentic. She's built genuine relationships with her audience and her peers. When someone like that quietly steps back from a potential friendship, it sends a message that reverberates through every corner of Hollywood.